Welcome back, everyone. Today, we're diving into a topic that's been shrouded in mystery, misconception, and quite frankly, a lot of Hollywood drama: hypnosis. When you hear that word, what's the first thing that pops into your head, Anna?
Oh, Adam, honestly, it's usually a stage show with someone clucking like a chicken or barking like a dog. You know that classic trope? Or maybe a swirling black and white spiral on a screen. Total mind control, right?
Exactly. And that's precisely what we need to unpack today, because as fascinating as those images are, they're miles away from the reality of what hypnosis truly is and how it can actually be a profoundly powerful tool for personal growth and accessing parts of our mind we don't usually tap into.
I mean, it's such a shame that those sensationalized versions have dominated the public perception, because when you start to really understand it, it's less about a magician controlling your will and more about tapping into your own inner resources. It's really quite empowering, isn't it?
It absolutely is. So let's start with the biggest myth: mind control. Can someone really make you do something you don't want to do, or reveal your deepest, darkest secrets just because you're under?
Absolutely not. And this is crucial. In a hypnotic state, you are always in control. It's not unconsciousness, it's a state of heightened focus and awareness, a deeply relaxed state where your critical, conscious mind takes a bit of a backseat. Think of it more like a guided daydream or an intensely focused meditation. If a suggestion goes against your values or what you believe is right, you simply won't accept it. You can even choose to emerge from the state whenever you like.
So, you're saying if a hypnotist told me to hand over my wallet, I wouldn't just do it, even if I was in this trance?
Precisely. Your moral compass, your personal boundaries, they don't just vanish. In fact, some people report feeling even more acutely aware of their inner thoughts and feelings during hypnosis. It's a state of focused attention, not a loss of consciousness or will.
That's a huge distinction, because I think that's where most of the fear comes from. People worry about losing control, but it sounds like you're actually gaining a different kind of control, or at least a different kind of access.
Exactly. And another common myth is that you can get stuck in hypnosis. People worry they'll just stay there forever, but it's not like that at all. What typically happens is that you either naturally drift out of the hypnotic state, or you simply fall asleep and wake up feeling refreshed. It's a very natural brain state, not some kind of unnatural prison.
So it's like falling into a really deep book or getting completely absorbed in a movie. You're aware of the world, but your focus is so intense on one thing that everything else fades away?
That's a fantastic analogy, Adam. When you're completely engrossed in a really good book, you're still aware of your surroundings on some level, but your primary focus is entirely on the story. Time can seem to fly by, and you might not notice minor distractions. That's a mild, everyday hypnotic state. Hypnosis, particularly clinical hypnosis, is essentially a deliberate induction of that focused, inwardly attentive state, but often deeper and more purposeful.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense. So if it's not mind control or getting stuck, what is it? What's actually happening in our minds when we enter these altered states?
Well, it really comes down to brainwave states. Normally, when we're awake and alert, our brains are in a beta state, but when we start to relax, meditate, or go into hypnosis, our brainwaves slow down into alpha and then theta states. Alpha is that relaxed receptive state, great for creativity and learning. Theta is even deeper, associated with deep relaxation, dreaming, and often the subconscious mind.
So we're basically shifting gears in our brain, and by slowing down, we're essentially bypassing the critical, analytical part of our conscious mind that often overthinks things or creates resistance?
You've hit the nail on the head. Our conscious mind is brilliant for logical reasoning, problem-solving, and day-to-day decisions. But it's also where our inner critic often resides, where doubts and resistance can get amplified. The subconscious mind, on the other hand, is like a vast library of all our experiences, memories, beliefs, and habits. It's incredibly powerful but doesn't have that same critical filter. When we enter these altered states, we gain a more direct line to the subconscious.
That's where the deep mind access part comes in, I assume. So it's not about putting new ideas into someone's head that aren't theirs, but rather about helping them reprogram existing patterns or beliefs that might be holding them back?
Exactly. Think about it. Most of our behaviors, our fears, our habits, both good and bad, are rooted in the subconscious. For instance, if you have a fear of public speaking, it's not a conscious choice you make to be afraid, it's a deeply ingrained pattern. Hypnosis allows us to communicate with that part of the mind that holds those patterns, to introduce new, more beneficial suggestions or perspectives directly, bypassing the conscious resistance.
So, instead of just telling yourself don't be afraid, which rarely works, you're actually addressing the root of the fear where it lives.
Precisely. And this is why it's so effective for things like breaking habits, managing pain, reducing anxiety, or boosting confidence. If you want to quit smoking, your conscious mind knows it's bad for you, but the subconscious patterns and associations are incredibly strong. Hypnosis can help rewrite those associations at a deeper level.
That's incredible. So, what are some of the practical applications you've seen or heard about where hypnosis has made a real difference in people's lives beyond just breaking bad habits?
Oh, the list is really quite extensive. Beyond habit cessation like smoking or overeating, it's widely used in pain management. For people with chronic pain, it can significantly reduce their perception of pain. There's even hypnobirthing, which uses self-hypnosis techniques to manage pain and anxiety during childbirth. It's also fantastic for performance enhancement. Athletes use it for focus and visualization, students for test anxiety, or anyone wanting to improve their public speaking.
I can see that. If you can access that deeper part of your mind, you can essentially train it to respond differently to situations that might usually trigger anxiety or underperformance. It's like mental training at a profound level.
Absolutely. It's also powerful for managing stress and general anxiety. By teaching the mind to enter those relaxed states more easily, people can develop better coping mechanisms. And for things like phobias, a fear of flying, heights, spiders, hypnosis can be incredibly effective in helping people reframe their response to those triggers.
So it's not just about what you don't want to do, like stop smoking, but also about what you do want to do, like perform better or feel calmer.
Exactly. It's about empowering positive change. And what's really fascinating is how natural these altered states are. We all dip in and out of them every day. When you're driving on a long, familiar stretch of road and suddenly realize you don't remember the last few miles, that's a mild hypnotic state. You were focused, but your conscious mind was a bit zoned out while your subconscious handled the driving. Or when you're lost in thought, staring out the window, completely oblivious to what's happening around you.
I totally know that feeling. It's like your mind is just elsewhere doing its own thing. So hypnosis just formalizes that process and directs it with intention.
Precisely. It's a natural capacity of the human mind. The hypnotist isn't doing anything to you. They're essentially a guide, helping you access a state you already have the ability to reach, and then providing suggestions that you've agreed upon beforehand to help you achieve your goals.
That shifts the entire perspective. It goes from something mystical and scary to something inherent within us, a tool we can learn to wield. So for anyone interested in exploring this, what should they look for in a practitioner?
That's a really important question. You definitely want to find a certified and reputable hypnotherapist. Look for someone who is properly trained and accredited by a recognized body. Ask about their experience, their approach, and their success rates for issues similar to yours. A good practitioner will always emphasize that it's a collaborative process, not something they do to you. They'll respect your boundaries and ensure you feel comfortable and safe throughout.
And it sounds like doing a bit of research into what hypnosis actually is, like we're doing today, would be a great first step to demystify it for yourself.
Absolutely. Understanding that you're in control, that it's a natural state, and that it's a tool for self-empowerment can alleviate a lot of those initial fears. It opens the door to realizing that we have so much more influence over our minds and bodies than we often give ourselves credit for.
It's truly fascinating how much potential lies within our own minds, just waiting to be accessed. The idea of tapping into that deep mind, not through force but through gentle guidance and focused intention, is incredibly powerful. It makes you wonder what else we're capable of, you know?
It really does, and I think that's the real takeaway here. Hypnosis, far from being some spooky stage trick, is a legitimate, scientifically supported tool for personal transformation. It helps us remember that the power to change, to heal, to grow, lies within us all along.
Well said, Anna. And that's a perfect note to end on. If you've been curious about hypnosis, hopefully today's conversation has helped bust some myths and shed some light on its true potential. Thank you for joining us today, Anna.
My pleasure, Adam. It's always a pleasure to demystify something so often misunderstood.
And thank you, our listeners, for tuning in. Until next time, keep exploring the incredible potential of your own mind. We'll catch you then.